Comenzamos con la grabación. Javier, cuando quieras, por favor, da la bienvenida a todos y ya empezamos la reunión.
Perfecto.
Muchas gracias a todos. Lo primero.
So now it's 3 o'clock. So we are going to start with the conference. Queridos amigos, vamos a empezar con la conferencia. Es verdaderamente una emoción de ver tantas personas aquí que con familias y amigos los han abandonado y han venido a una reunión que pensamos en el futuro será histórica. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very happy that though you have families and friends, you have come to this conference. And then I think it will be good also for you because it's going to be a historic meeting today. About myself, most of you already know me, but what you don't, because we have work in other areas, but maybe the area that you don't know is that I am also member of the Unión Europea de Mallorca, which is a possibility today to make this conference. And I'm grateful my companions and members of the association have helped me a lot. The Unión Europea de Mallorca is a long-time association since 1988 and is fighting for the European Federation with a federal constitution. And in the last year, we have become a member of the Federation FAIF that today is also two people there, Mr. Leo Clincas and Mauro Casalotto. Welcome, all of you. And therefore, after this, I am going to introduce our invited speaker, which is the member of the parliament, Mr. Sinčić. All of you have to receive the open letter of Mr. Sinčić. And as far as you could read in this letter, there is not almost necessity to introduce him. Todos habéis recibido la carta abierta que ha escrito el miembro del Parlamento Europeo, Mr. Sinčić, y por lo que habéis leído allí, no creo que haga falta mucha presentación. Mr. Sinčić is the only European parliamentarian that it is supporting publicly the universal basic income.
La conferencia no hay.
El señor Sinčić es el único parlamentario que está apoyando públicamente la renta básica en toda la Unión Europea. Also, Mr. Sinčić keeps meetings with experts, politicians, and activists, and therefore it could be a lot of help for the future if we want to make more promotion of the universal basic income. Mr. Sinčić está realizando otras reuniones con expertos, otros políticos, no muchos, pero algunos, y activistas en relación con la promoción de la renta básica universal. Y naturalmente, hoy tenemos el honor de tenerlo entre nosotros y desde luego después hasta las 3:30 pues él nos dará sus impresiones de cómo ve el tema de la renta básica y también de sus actividades. Mr. Sinčić is going to talk us about his impressions and his works on the universal basic income until 3:30, and afterwards you will have the possibility to ask him whatever you like, and then if he cannot answer, maybe Angel or me or somebody else can answer, because many of you is the first time in this type of conferences. So about the people in this conference, I can't see everybody at once, but most of them come from Spain, some of them from Germany, and I can't see the Romanian people and neither the Bulgarian people. They promised to come, but I'm going to tell them that you were here and that's it. And estamos aquí personas de España, de Alemania, y tenía que venir uno o dos de Bulgaria y otro de Rumanía. No sé si han venido, no puedo ver todo el cuadro. We have to express our solidarity with Mr. Sinsi because we have read that the European Parliament punished him because the only thing he's doing is working on favor of solidarity society. So then now we can promise him that from now on we can count on us so as to support him in all these works. And, for example, writing a letter to the President and members of the European Parliament in the future, if necessary.
Thank you.
Eso acabo de decir al parlamentario que como lo castiga el Parlamento por no ajustarse a las normas y que normalmente estas normas lo único que hacen es que se sale de lo normal porque es lucha por una sociedad más solidaria. Y naturalmente digo que si es necesario escribiremos al Parlamento, al presidente y al Parlamento Europeo para soportar, o sea, para ayudarle en su trabajo. So in the objective of this conference is going to be that we are going to have this conference recorded, and we are going to distribute whatever other people, other coordinators in the European Union asking or what it was the meeting, and then maybe we can start other conferences in the future somewhere else. And secondly, we are going to start writing letters also to the European Parliament asking for more support of the universal basic income in the future, because it would be a shame that 1 million signatures for the whole European Union, and in the end the European Parliament has to be the parliament where it has to be discussed the initiative of the European people. Then I think it's worth to fight until the end of the signatures. Vamos a luchar con todas nuestras fuerzas para extender esta conferencia, por ejemplo, escribiendo al Parlamento Europeo, a todos los eurodiputados, para que tengan en cuenta el esfuerzo que hacemos en favor de casi de unos 400 millones de personas en toda la Unión Europea. And to finish up the introduction, I would like to inform you, maybe some of you already know, but from yesterday, today, or the last 2 days, a miracle has happened. And I know, or I have read, that our time for signatures has been extended, and then it will be finished on March 2022. So then the first thing I thought it was because Mr. Sinci is coming to us and he was to bring a present. And therefore I am so happy to communicate to all of you that now, from now on, we have still 1 year to achieve the target, to achieve the 1 million signatures. So it's a good news to start. Amigos, ya es la última traducción por ahora que estoy haciendo, porque he aprovechado para comunicar la fecha que sabemos la mayoría, pero otros no lo sabían, que a pesar del tiempo que llevamos recolectando firmas, ahora tenemos la noticia fantástica de que el plazo terminará en el mes de marzo de 2022. Y yo enseguida pensé que era un regalo que nos traía el parlamentario Sinci. Así que los congratulamos, me alegro mucho de estar con todos vosotros aquí, y ahora vamos a escuchar la impresión, la charla del señor Sinci. So now the introduction is finished, and we like the member of the Euro Parliament, Sinček, to talk to us about his impressions and his point of view and the future of the universal basic income. Ivan, you have the word.
Thank you very much. I'm very much honored to be today here with you in your company. A few months ago, I think it was November, I also had a meeting with activists who are collecting signatures in the European Citizens Initiative for Universal Basic Income all around Europe. So I was very happy to meet them as well. And I'm also very happy that the deadline was prolonged for another year. You will now translate?
Your micro, Javier, it's closed.
Mr. Sinček está comentando también la felicidad que trae de tener un año por delante como si estuviéramos empezando ahora. No ha dicho que es milagro de él, pero yo sigo manteniendo que lo es.
Y ha dicho también que ya tuvo otra reunión con los coordinadores nacionales de la Iniciativa Ciudadana Europea, entre los que estamos Ronald y yo. Ya tuvo otra reunión con nosotros, hace ya en noviembre.
Correcto, gracias. Gracias, Ángel. So go ahead, Ivan.
Thank you. So let me just say a few words about myself. I have been in politics for 10 years. Except being in politics, I'm also an activist. I was very active in eviction sabotage. I was arrested 11 times by the police because we were preventing the banks to evict people from their only homes. So we were doing that for years. We are still doing that. And this is also a very important part of my work as an activist and both as a politician. I have always searched for a way to liberate people from oppression, from both corrupt politicians and from both the financial system that is oppressing them. And I have found a solution in universal basic income as well.
So he was he had in the past and
En español, Javier.
oh, sorry. Tenía el parlamentario en el pasado algunas situaciones problemáticas y fue detenido por la policía varias veces, pero en el curso del tiempo, bueno, pues todo se ha ido encaminando. No sé si quieres completar, Ángel, que...
Sí, dijo que es interesante que él militaba en un movimiento como la plataforma de afectados por la hipoteca aquí en España, que luchaban contra los desahucios de gente que fue detenido por la policía y que siempre ha luchado para evitar, para liberar a la gente del yugo de los políticos corruptos y del sistema financiero. Eso me parece muy, muy interesante, ¿no? Y que por eso promueve la renta básica incondicional.
Gracias, Ángel. Go ahead, Ivan.
Thank you. So it was a very sorry. It was a very long and hard road. In the first few years, it was not a very popular idea to try to change something in Croatia. We were, as students, protesting the corrupt government, and we were protesting austerity measures. And it was not a very popular idea in the beginning, but then as the time was going, as the years were passing by, we were getting stronger and stronger, and today it's a completely different situation.
So, en el pasado no era muy popular las luchas que comenzaban en Croacia, pero con el tiempo pues tuvieron éxito y por fin pues ya lo vemos ahora de que su organización política y él mismo pues son bien aceptados y con bastante éxito. Go ahead. O Ángel, ¿quieres poner algo más?
No. Solo que luchaban contra la austeridad, ha dicho que eso era importante, contra las medidas de austeridad de Europa y de los gobiernos, pero que no era muy popular al principio, no sabemos por qué.
Go ahead, Ivan.
Okay. So about the universal basic income, I have been intensively working on this topic almost a year now. So because of this pandemic situation, it is very hard to organize anything. It is very hard to get in contact with people, and it is very hard to do any kind of activistic activity. But I believe that the situation will improve and that the goals can be reached.
So, ahora está trabajando por la renta básica ya desde hace un año y que aunque la situación está siendo difícil, espera que mejore y por tanto que nos ayude a alcanzar la meta, que será el 1.000.000 de firmas. Ok, Iván.
As you said that I am the only member of the European Parliament that is advocating universal basic income. That is not far from true. I am certainly the most prominent one, but there are some other members of Parliament who have great sympathies for this idea, who support this idea. So I made a huge effort to try to find them and to make a working group.
So, él no es el único eurodiputado que está luchando por la renta básica universal, pero casi el único. Por lo tanto, está haciendo grandes esfuerzos para ver si puede convencer a otras personas que aumenten el apoyo a la renta básica universal. Okay, Ivan, go ahead.
And so one person cannot do much alone, but when there is an organized group, it has a much bigger strength. So now we are working on forming like a working group with the ability to make certain activities. And I think that for start, there will be 4 to 5 MEPs in European Parliament, because me and my assistant, we have made a great search. We have scanned all the MEPs, everything they were saying in the Parliament, everything they were saying to the press, how they voted, and we came up with 4 to 5 names. And this is the beginning of this group. And from that point, we can go on.
Very good. Está trabajando para formar un grupo de personas que apoyen la renta básica universal en el Parlamento Europeo y por eso pues tienen varias actividades y hasta ahora han conseguido ser un grupo aproximadamente de 4 a 6 personas, pero lo más importante es que hicieron un escrito en el cual 45 miembros del Parlamento Europeo se sentían identificados con el tema de la renta básica universal. ¿Correcto, Ángel?
Sí.
Vale. When I wanted this the Ángel to repeat because I want exactly, because this is very important thing when you have attained 4 or 5 people, then this is very good. Congratulations. So go ahead.
Thank you. We were doing 4 months on that.
Good. And they are working for several months on this, yes. Y están trabajando ya varios meses en este tema de contribuir a hacer un grupo más fuerte para la renta básica universal. Go ahead.
As I said, the progress was very slow. It took a lot of time to find the people who might be interested. And when we did find them, it was very hard to get into contact with them because there are very few people in Brussels, perhaps even less than 1/3 of all MEPs. And there are also very few assistants in Brussels. And it took a great deal of effort to find emails, to find phone numbers of these people, and to make conferences with them. But I managed to do that, and I think we are making good progress on forming this working group.
Okay, so then the work, el trabajo se extendió también con el grupo en la ciudad de Bruselas y es difícil, pero han conseguido contactos y algunos emails y va despacio, pero tienen esperanzas que funciona bien en el futuro.
I think that it is a great progress by itself that we even know the others exist. You know, I didn't know how many others, other MEPs exist that support universal basic income. Also, those people didn't know that I exist or somebody else exists, or they did know something, but very little. But this is a completely different level now. And we are trying to organize a strong organization.
Al principio, cuando empezaron a trabajar con este grupo que están desarrollando, mucha de la gente ni siquiera sabían de qué se trataba la renta básica universal, pero con el paso del tiempo pues van notando progreso satisfactorio. Go ahead.
In December, 15th of December, my team made a conference on universal basic income. It was the first international conference on universal basic income in Croatia. I had the privilege to have a very important guest, Mr. Philippe van Parijs, a Belgian economist and philosopher, was present there in Zagreb. Also, Ms. Valeria Korošec, a Slovenian economist, was present in Zagreb. And we also had a video link from Guy Standing from United Kingdom and from Professor Neumerker from Germany and from Sarah Davala from Vienna Network.
Okay. Con todo esto, el día 15 de 12 tuvo una conferencia en Croacia donde reunió a gente importante del país, pero también pudo hacer conferencia o encontrar economistas y tratar el tema, no solamente de la zona, sino también del Reino Unido y de Alemania.
Y de Eslovenia. Eslovenia también.
Eslovenia.
Y...
Gracias, Ángel. Go ahead.
Thank you. I was very happy with the conference. A lot of important things were said there. But this is the political part, and this is the scientific part. The BN network has a lot of professors and scientists that advocate the idea of universal basic income. Now we must go a step forward, of course.
So, entonces, desde entonces han seguido haciendo cosas importantes y con los advocates no me he enterado muy bien. ¿Me puedes ayudar, Ángel?
Of course. This is why European Citizens Initiative is very important as well. I hope that the situation will improve soon and that we will have normal conditions and that the goal will be reached.
So, esperando que tengamos condiciones normales de comunicación en un futuro próximo, pues seguro que conseguiremos el gol, la meta.
let me just say a few words. What is universal basic income for me? It is a lot of things. Universal basic income, we can view it as both some kind of social policy, we can view it as some kind of monetary policy, but we can also view it as some part of fiscal policy. But for me, it is primarily the question of freedom, how to make people free from oppression of the political and economical system that we live in. It is not a thing of ideology. It is a thing of civilization. I think that universal basic income is a principle of developed civilization, that we have come to a point in the 21st century where universal basic income is simply a necessity.
So, desde su punto de vista, la renta básica universal no tiene, tiene una rama social, también tiene otra monetaria, pero en realidad lo que se persigue básicamente con la renta básica universal, que la gente sea más libre, que tenga libertad, porque si no, no habremos conseguido en el siglo XXI lo que verdaderamente se espera.
Yes, as I said, in Croatia we have 20%, even more, with this crisis, even more, much more than 1/3 of people who live in poverty, and people, especially the children, are in worse situation, because children that are born in poverty have a great chance of being poor one day when they grow up. So it's like a vicious circle that you can never get out. So I see universal basic income also as a tool of freedom for them. They will have much more chance in life, and they will have a chance to have much better quality life.
Solamente en Croacia dice que hay 1/3 de la gente en pobreza, y que naturalmente con la renta básica universal pues sería un cambio en la dirección de conseguir que la gente viva más feliz, más libre y tenga una vida más sana, sobre todo con más libertad.
Yes, this is the first thing, the thing of freedom. The second thing is redistribution in society. We have a greater and greater gap between the rich and the poor, and it is going to an extreme. We have seen that many billionaires have gotten even richer in this crisis, while there is an increasing number of poor. So I see universal basic income also as a tool of redistribution in society, making it more just, much more just.
La renta básica universal pues permitiría una redistribución de la riqueza, con lo cual la sociedad pues sería más justa.
Yeah, and there is also a third thing. I am an electrical engineer studying automation, and today in 21st century we can make very efficient production processes, and the machines are taking a lot of jobs from the people. They also give some, but they mostly take. And the solution to this is also universal basic income, and this is the third main reason why I'm a great supporter of this idea.
Y el tercer punto importante que él dice como ingeniero eléctrico es que él ve en la transformación de la sociedad que muchos trabajos se están sustituyendo por robots, con lo cual el futuro se podría compensar, pues precisamente si hubiera una renta básica universal para todas las personas.
Exactly. So these are the three main reasons why I'm interested in universal basic income as a tool for the future and as a tool to give better quality life to all humans. I think it's a global idea, and I think it is also a question of civilization development.
Es una herramienta, la renta universal, una herramienta de futuro que permitiría una vida más digna y que por tanto es una solución global.
Exactly. So just a few more minutes to finish, please. Are we going behind schedule a lot?
Sorry?
Are we going behind schedule? Because it's
Y va bien de tiempo, Javier.
Sí, sí. So I don't know. Maybe it depends on the questions, you know. I don't know. I have only 2 questions, but I don't know the others. But anyway, five more minutes, and then we change to questions.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. I really was very happy to see that there are so many people that support universal basic income, both in science and even in business, because you even have a lot of billionaires who support universal basic income, who think that they shouldn't be as fortunate as they are, and of course among citizens there is a huge support, and we have just started. Many people don't even know what that is. Once they learn what universal basic income is, I believe they will support it even more. I think that the economy will function on an optimum level with universal basic income. Now we have, in a way, a paralyzed economy with so huge differences and so much stress, but with universal basic income, we can make it function in an optimum way. I feel it.
Yeah. Mr. Sinzik Dan está viendo a través de su experiencia y contactos de que hay muchos, incluso millonarios, billonarios que están por la renta básica, mucha gente de los negocios y mucha gente también de ciudadanos ordinarios, pero todavía son pocos. Esperamos que el día en el cual la gente se dé cuenta que la renta básica universal sería, digamos, la solución a los problemas que nos atañen hoy día, porque la economía hoy está parada prácticamente, y si tuviéramos una renta básica, pues probablemente con toda seguridad funcionaría todo mucho mejor, con lo cual es una herramienta para solución de futuro.
Yeah. So that's all from me from the introduction. Thank you.
That was very good. We are very happy that listen your experiences, and then of course then if in the end we have more time we can continue talking, but now I like to start with the questions, because through your experiences, your contacts, and then about all what you have talked about your team or your group you have now in Brussels, it is a hope that then many more people in the future will learn exactly what's going on with the universal basic income. Bueno, estoy agradeciendo al eurodiputado, que estamos contentos de haberle escuchado, porque vemos que hace progresos en Bruselas con otros parlamentarios y con otros contactos en general, y que al fin un día la gente podrá entender que la renta básica universal no solamente es monetaria, sino que puede ser una solución para los problemas que hoy justamente estamos viviendo continuamente. Por tanto, pasamos a las preguntas.
Sí, por mi parte... Se escucha audio, ¿verdad? ¿Verdad?
Víctor, tienes mucho eco.
Ahora sí que me escucharéis bien, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Sí.
Vale. Hay una serie de preguntas en el chat, las vamos a ir pasando ahora, Javier. Yo aprovecho y me cuelo el primero y quiero darle las gracias en este caso a nuestro ponente, a Iván. Y me gustaría, Javier, que le preguntaras, yo soy militante de Podemos en su momento llevaba la renta básica en las primeras elecciones en las que se presentó precisamente al Europarlamento y le fueron bien. Entonces, precisamente quería saber si tiene algún tipo de contacto con Podemos, si lo ha tenido y si no lo ha tenido, instarle a que lo tenga. Si se lo puedes transmitir, Javier.
Claro, no faltaba más. So, the first question is very political one. So you have said you have contacts in the European Parliament with several MPs, but the question now is exactly if you have any contact with the Podemos political party, and if you have, what do you think about the relationship?
Well, I must say that when we started in 2011 and the years after that, 2012, 2013, we have always tried to find similar parties in Europe, and we have tried to contact Podemos. Unfortunately, we did not manage to do that at that time. Today in European Parliament, I know a few people who are or were members of Podemos or are connected with them. So I think that I have connections in that questions. I don't know exactly too much about political events in Spain today, but I would like to know. If you would like to give me information on a daily basis, I would be very grateful.
Okay. So, la pregunta se contesta diciendo de que ya hace muchos años que intentaba tener contactos desde el 2012, 2013 y no hubo posibilidad. Sin embargo, últimamente sí que ha tenido relación con Podemos, si no directamente, no solamente con algunos parlamentarios, sino también con otras personas relacionadas. Pero no está muy al corriente con el tema de política en España y que si podemos introducirle o informarle de este tema, pues estaría contento.
Muy bien. Ramón es la primera persona también que ha puesto... Voy a ir en orden según el chat, ¿vale? Y así tenemos este orden en este caso para hacerlo. Ramón es la primera persona que ha hecho una pregunta y es, ¿cree que el referéndum suizo sobre la renta básica habría sido aprobado si el gobierno suizo no hubiera hecho campaña activa en contra?
Do you know that in Switzerland took place a referendum about the universal basic income? The question is, do you think the result would have been different if the government of Switzerland had made campaign against it or against the universal basic income?
Yes, the Swiss have many referendums per year. I think 10 to 12. I think this is a very good thing that they have so many referendums. In Croatia, we only had 3 referendums in 30 years, and we have a deficit of the democracy. I think they will have another referendum on universal basic income in a few years, and I think the result would have been different in their different circumstances. Yes, it's not a definite yes or a no. It is a process. It is a process, of course.
Entonces, la respuesta es que si el gobierno no hubiera hecho campaña en contra, es muy probable que sí que habría ganado el sí.
Es el turno de Ronald, que tiene 3 cuestiones que plantearle a Iván. Ronald, te activas el micrófono.
Ronald can ask himself.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. My name is Ronald Plaschke from Germany. I'm the substitute of representative of the organizer group of ECI Unconditional Basic Income. I'm author of a lot of books about UBI, and I found the German network of basic income and the European network of basic income. Okay, I have 3 questions to Ivan. The first is about the MEP group of basic income. So the second question is about the letter, the open letter to citizens. And the third question is about the situation in Croatia. So first, what do you think, what is the target of your open letter? And it was sent out, the open letter, or is it's a draft of an open letter? And when is this a draft of open letter, can you add something about ECI of universal or unconditional basic income? This is the first question. The second question about the MEPs. It's possible that we can arrange together a meeting of interested MEPs for basic income, universal basic income, unconditional basic income. We are very interested to meet the MEPs who are interested in the basic income. And the third question is, what do you think about the situation in Croatia? We have only 800 signatures in Croatia for the ECI. It's not too much. We are looking, as an organizer group of ECI, we are looking for national coordinators and substitutes to get in touch with these organizers, and we can improve the reaching or the targeting of our numbers of the ECI in Croatia. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, let me start with the third question about the signatures. If I remember, Slovenia was the first or among the first to collect the signatures the last time. And regarding this time, we haven't really even started the serious collection of signatures in Croatia because of this corona crisis. We are expecting this to improve soon, and then we can start serious work to do, because it is almost impossible to be in the streets with these conditions. There is almost nobody. There was almost nobody there, and people simply don't like to be engaged in this situation. So that is the one part of the answer. The other part of the answer is that more activists are needed and more coordinators are needed. I know that political situation in Croatia, it's very hard. There are very few people, especially young people, that want to do anything in Croatian politics, not just as a member of some party, but as a NGO that does politics. It's very hard to find that those people, but it's not impossible. You also mentioned my open letter. The open letter was made for everyone, really, for the press to publish it, and for the activists, and for the people who support universal basic income. And it was simply a call for everybody. Let us make an even stronger structure. And if there is anyone who wants to work with me, please contact me. And I didn't understand your question completely. You asked whether we can add something to the letter. Yes, I think we can add. We can discuss about that. You can make a new draft and send it to me so I can see what exactly you meant. And what was the second question, please? I forgot.
I asked for arrangement to meet MEPs who are interested in UBI. I know a lot of members of EP, and I think we can make an evening or meeting to discuss about the new ECI and the situation of UBI in Europe, in the EU.
Sure. I would be very happy if we made a common meeting, but I think that we must first finish the first phase. We as MEPs must make a structure of our own, this foundation of 5 to 4 MEPs, and then with this foundation we can go in 2 directions. One direction is find even more MEPs, and my colleagues think that there will be many more, and the other direction is to go towards you, towards the scientists, towards activists, and so on and so on. So we are having a meeting next week on the organization issues, and once we finish the first phase among ourselves, I would be very happy to make a meeting with you or any other activists from any other country or organization or anything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So, las preguntas que hizo el compañero Ronald es la primera sobre sobre la carta abierta que él ha escrito. En realidad va dirigida a todas las personas, es una llamada general para tomar atención de la renta básica universal y naturalmente se puede cambiar, o sea que podemos hacer peticiones. Y la segunda, referente a si se pueden encontrar más eurodiputados parlamentarios que tengan interés en desarrollar la renta básica universal, pues parece ser que el tema se está trabajando en 2 direcciones. Una en conseguir más miembros y otra pues en las acciones que quieren seguir adelante. Y la tercera es en Croacia, que solamente hay pocas firmas, pero es porque realmente no han empezado. Se han enterado que los vecinos de Eslovenia ya tienen cubierto el cupo, incluso lo han superado, pero que en Croacia todavía están esperando a tener coordinadores para conseguir más firmas. No sé si me he dejado algo, Ángel.
No.
Vale, es el turno ahora de Mauro.
Thanks. I'm Mauro Casarotto of the FAEF, Federal Alliance of European Federalists. And yes, I have a question for Ivan. I agree very much with Ivan when he says that the universal basic income is civilization and it's not ideology. Yes, I agree. In Italy too, since 2 years, we have a law that institutes the universal basic income in our country, and it's working pretty well. But I think that the problem here is not merely a problem of oppression. It's not merely the rich people, tycoons, that is who is oppressing poor people or people with insufficient income. This is indeed an important issue, but not the only one. Ivan already touched the topic of the technological unemployment. That is probably one of the main issues when we are speaking about the basic income problem, the basic income question. And indeed, this question, the technological unemployment, was discussed from the beginning of the 19th century, but also at the end of the 18th century. The question was already discussed by philosophers and economists and intellectuals. So it's not a question that popped up just now in our societies. So it's not only oppression, and we have to carefully think about one detail here when we are speaking about a universal basic income. That is that when you create this tool. Basically, you use public money. So you are not using the money of the rich people, of the tycoons, of big companies, but you are using the money that is public, and so is the money of the state and the states. So the question to Ivan is very simple. Advocating something is indeed very important, and I'm 100% for this. But you have also to try to study a way in which you develop sufficient means in order to create a situation in which what you are advocating is also possible. So the question is, you are asking for public money, but how do you think this public money could be made available in order to have a concrete universal basic income proposal?
Thank you. Well, there are several ways to fund this program. My personal view, there are a lot of books written on that. One of my favorite is the book by Mr. Van Parijs. I see several sources of money for this program. One of them is, of course, the budget. And the second one is a special tax for very rich corporations and very rich people who have hundreds of billions of euros or of dollars. I think there should be some kind of wealth limit made. Let's say it doesn't have to be that number, but let's say there is a $10 billion limit on your personal wealth. So everything else should be taken from you. So if you have $200 billion like Elon Musk, 190 billion should be taken from you and redistributed in the society. Elon Musk is a strong proponent of universal basic income. So it is a matter of civilizational development. It is a matter of wealth limit. That's my proposal. It doesn't have to be that way. Perhaps we can use some other ways. So I see four main sources. The first one is the budget. The second one is the wealth limit. The third one is the primary emission. So we have a monetary system today made in the world in a way that, well, let's speak about European Union. The European Central Bank, with all its subsidiaries, finances the commercial banks, and then the commercial banks on the financial market finance the companies, the citizens, the countries, and so on. But we also have a tool to directly basically create money out of nothing, like they do it today, and then redistribute that directly to the accounts of the citizens without all this procedure we have now with the commercial banks and the state and so on and so on. So this is one of the tools of how to finance universal basic income.
La pregunta de Mauro va dirigida en realidad a cómo se financiaría la renta básica universal, y el eurodiputado contesta de que, bueno, una posibilidad es el presupuesto del Estado, otra sería aumentando los impuestos en los ricos y muy ricos, y la tercera sería poniendo un límite a la riqueza de las personas, como por ejemplo 10 millones de tope, y después el resto que fuera todo redistribuido bueno, para financiar la renta básica. Pero también hay otra última, que sería cambiando radicalmente el sistema monetario actual, que bueno, ya sabemos cómo funciona, ¿no? El Banco Central Europeo, los otros bancos, y al final se financian todos, pero los que realmente lo necesitan, pues no les llega el dinero. Next question. La próxima pregunta.
Miguel.
¿Perdona?
Miguel.
Ah,
Miguel, por favor, ponte el micrófono y...
Vale, ok.
A ver.
Esto es una cuestión que a mí yo voy a plantear una cosa que a mí me preocupa hace mucho tiempo, ¿no? Y es que, bueno, todos vamos viendo que el paisaje social va cambiando, que la tecnología va reemplazando millones de empleos. Sin embargo, los políticos, de forma infame, según lo que yo creo, nos siguen prometiendo y hablando de pleno empleo. O sea, es como si a la gente no la vieran mayor de edad y no fueran capaces de decirle la verdad. ¿Por qué ocurre esto? Que no son capaces de reconocer que el mundo del trabajo ha cambiado y que lo del trabajo para todos ya no va a ser. Gracias.
So the question of Miguel goes in the way that politicians are talking all the time, or most of the times, about the full unemployment. And although we all know that the full employment has never been and it will be less in the future. So what do you think? Politicians are still insisting in employees more employment if it does not work or is not going to work?
I didn't quite understand the question. You're asking about the relation between universal basic income and full employment.
no, the question, Ivan, is the society is changing and the technology is advancing and substituting people for machines. So why, taking into account this situation, why politicians are insisting again in the solution of full employment, if they know perfectly it is not going to be possible? Do you understand?
I understand. Yes, as I said, automation is taking jobs and creating some jobs. Let's go back 200 years ago, when almost everyone was working in agriculture. Let's say out of 100 people, 99 worked in agriculture, and we need to have 99 people working in agriculture to feed 100 people. Then there was the first industrial revolution, and for example, I think in the middle of the 19th century in America, there was like only 70% of people working in agriculture. So you have to have 70 people working in agriculture to feed 100 people. Today in Europe, industrialized Europe, we have 5 to 10 people working in agriculture to feed 100 people. As automation started, people were going from agriculture to industry, and then in the industrial sector became more and more automized, and then the people went from this sector to services. And as you said, now the situation is that even from the service sector, they are being pushed out. If we keep a definition of work as it is now, we all know what's work, I'm not sure we can reach full employment. But if we redefine what is work in the spirit of the 21st century, then we might even have full employment one day. But this doesn't affect the universal basic income, because we are going to a situation where there is very easy to produce anything. It is mostly made by the machines. Less and less human work is needed. But who is going to buy these products? Who is going to buy Elon Musk's cars if we are all poor and unemployed? Nobody. So it is logical that we have some kind of income from him so we can buy his products, so that money can circulate and products can circulate. Because what we must have is an economy in an optimum level. We are going to the extremes now. Very rich and very poor. Billionaires like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, they are richer than a few billion people combined. They are richer than entire countries. Creation budget is only 70 billion euros. Compare that to Elon Musk or Bill Gates. So, and it is getting worse and worse. So we have polarization in the world now. And we need to get the economy and the society back into balance. Yes, you can be rich, you can have 10 billion, 5 billion, 50 billion, but enough is enough. You're taking too much, and the people can't buy your products. You have to give something back so that we have a normal situation. I think I answered your question. It's a very interesting question about full employment. Yes, it's a philosophical question also, because if we are going to have, even now they speak of fourth industrial revolution, if we are going to have even more people that are going to lose their jobs, and the research has shown that you cannot always requalify people. If a person is doing a job number 1, it can be requalified in job number 3 and 4, but it cannot be requalified in some other jobs. So it cannot be solved just by employment, because for some people there simply is or there won't be any jobs. So that's why we need also universal basic income.
Ángel, ¿te atreves a contestar? A traducir.
Ha dicho tantas cosas que a ver si me acuerdo.
Digo yo entonces lo primero.
Vale,
a ver si...
Venga.
Primero tengo que decir que la pregunta de Miguel, a mi modo de entender, es muy difícil. Porque todos lo sabemos, efectivamente, de que los políticos dicen algo que no viene a la realidad. Y entonces yo entiendo que lo que ha contestado el eurodiputado pues tiene toda la razón, que debemos de olvidarnos de los empleos y entrar en un mundo donde verdaderamente la economía funcione, y para eso necesitamos la renta básica universal.
Sí, ha dicho también, bueno, ha hecho como una síntesis del proceso histórico, ha hablado de cómo los empleos que antes estaban todos en la agricultura fueron pasando a la industria, y ahora han pasado al sector servicios, pero que con todo el avance de la tecnología, pues todos esos empleos se pueden sustituir, pero él decía que no era eso lo más importante, o sea que inclusive a lo mejor sería posible crear nuevos empleos, pero que lo más importante era que todos esos billonarios que vendían cosas, ¿quién iba a comprar sus cosas? Entonces, si no dabas una renta básica a la gente, nadie podría comprar sus cosas, ¿no? Entonces, que la renta básica permitiría equilibrar la sociedad para que continuara funcionando, ¿no? Porque si no, si la gente es cada vez más pobre, pues esos ricos se van a quedar con sus bienes y sus cosas para consumirlas ellos mismos, nadie lo va a poder consumir, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, más o menos eso es un poco la síntesis, que le parecía muy interesante la pregunta, ¿no? Y que había que redefinir el concepto de trabajo y de empleo, no solo de manera, digamos, económica, sino también filosófica, decía, ¿no?
África, es tu turno.
África.
Sí. Hola, buenas tardes. Thank you, Ivan, for to be here. My English is very bad. I prefer to ask the question a Javier. ¿Vale? Entonces, la pregunta, tal como yo había escrito ahí, Javier, si la puedes trasladar, es que querría conocer, quería saber su conocimiento, su opinión a nivel de la Unión Europea, si las dificultades para convencerse y para apoyar la renta básica incondicional nacen de ligar precisamente lo que estamos hablando, la remuneración o la situación económica de las personas a los empleos, o también porque haya otras propuestas de ayudas o de rentas que entran en colisión, como pasa aquí en España, con pues, las rentas mínimas, las ayudas por desempleo, en fin, toda una serie de ayudas que dificultan el que haya un concepto claro de lo que nosotras estamos defendiendo como renta básica incondicional.
A ver, África, a ver si lo he entendido bien yo, porque es que...
Yo tampoco lo he entendido bien.
¿No?
Tampoco
Yo creo,
no.
yo lo entendería. La pregunta que le haría es la siguiente.
Javier, si quieres puedes ver en el chat su pregunta,
No,
que está
porque...
escrita, y traducirla tal cual.
Bueno.
Es lo último que lo acabo de poner.
Vale.
¿Lo has puesto abajo, Víctor? Sí.
Estar con otras propuestas de renta. Bueno, pues eso es lo que iba yo a entender. Es decir, que hay tantas propuestas de rentas que la gente está un poco perdida. Entonces, ¿cómo podríamos solucionar para que toda la gente entienda lo que es la renta básica universal? ¿Correcto?
Y al mismo tiempo ligado a que la renta, independiente de que sea una u otra, no debe estar ligada al empleo.
Claro, claro. Also, yes, I have this thing clear, and it is that nowadays the universal basic income is very confusing for many people. So then in the end, they don't know, for example, if somebody has nowadays a rent, is going to keep this rent, or I am going to lose this rent. So in what way could we solve this problem? Or how can we clear these to people?
Okay. The idea of universal basic income is not yet universal because we have pilot projects in Germany now. On my conference, I had a professor from Germany that was leading this project. He was speaking in German parliament. We have projects from Finland. We have some projects in India, in the United States, in some cities, and so on. And they're all giving pretty well results, I must say. People used to think, when I get universal basic income, I won't be working anymore. But actually, what happens often is the opposite. People feel secure. They feel secure. And with the fear gone, when they are freed from this pressure of everyday surviving, then they find new opportunities. And this is what we see in pilot projects. And this is confirming the idea of freedom that is motivating me very much. About the rent issue, well, I think that the rent will stay, but you will have to you will be able to pay the rent much more easily. The universal basic income doesn't really go that deep. Should there be a rent or no, or the primary accumulation of capital and things like that. It is a program that is funded. I mentioned 4 sources of the funding: taxing large corporations, limiting the wealth of rich people, primary emission, and of course the budget. There could be more, there are more, or there can be only 1 or 3 or 5. It is yet to be determined for a specific country or even on the European Union level. But we must be open-minded at all times. We must not limit ourselves because it's a big idea, and we have to develop it with every day. I don't have to be 100% right. I'm just expressing my thoughts. I'm also learning from you. I'm learning from the professors, and we can make a solution that will operate on a regional level, town level, continent level, anything. So it is a program that is funded from several sources, and then on the other end, the money goes to all the citizens. Some even ask questions: should children get it? Should not? We can talk about that as well. And it is universal, so everybody gets it, even the rich. And it is paid unconditionally, without any condition. And of course, it is regularly paid, like every month or every 3 months or once a year. It is all open for discussion. So this is a basic principle, and we still have to develop it and see what is working best.
Entonces, África, básicamente, él ha dicho que también no lo tiene muy claro y que está aprendiendo cada día de lo que escucha también de las otras personas, pero en realidad la renta básica universal es que es muy amplia, es que es para todos, es que es para los ricos, los pobres, los pensionistas, los parados, para todos. Y naturalmente, pues al final de toda esta andadura que estamos haciendo, habrá que definir exactamente qué universalidad tiene la renta básica universal, y entonces se definirá exactamente pero en definitiva es universal, no debería de depender de lo que hoy tiene cada uno, porque si la cobran los ricos mejor lo podrán cobrar los que tienen una pequeña renta. Yo lo he entendido así. ¿Tú cómo lo ves, Ángel?
Sí, más o menos,
Si quieres, pues, Ángel, ya puedes formular, es tu turno, puedes formularle ahora la pregunta.
Okay. Dear Ivan, here in Spain, an European Europarlamentarian from Podemos Catalonia showed his public support to our ECI on unconditional basic income through Twitter. So maybe you need me to give the name of this Europarlamentarian so that you can contact with him.
Please.
Yes. I write to you in the chat, or you pass me your mail. Write to you in the chat.
I will give you my mail in the chat. Everyone can write to me.
Okay. So I'll write to you an email and give you the name of this Spanish European parliamentarian.
Please.
Who showed support to our ECI. So I think it's a good candidate for your working group.
Sure. Out of the 4 to 5 that I have found, nobody is from Spain, so I'm very excited about the one from Spain.
Okay. I think there are more Europarlamentarians who support UBI in Podemos. I also received through Javier another mail showing interest for our ECI. The Europarlamentarian is a woman, it's Eugenia Rodríguez Palop, also from Podemos. So we can give you these 2 names.
Please give me all the names you can. I just wanted to mention that it's also a question of democracy, because when there is too much money controlled by too few people, then they possess a threat to democracy, to the power of the majority. And as I compared, Croatia has 17 billion euros budget per year, and there are a lot of billionaires in the world that have more. And Croatia is one of the better countries. We also have many smaller countries. Just a moment, please.
Vale, mientras viene ahora, la siguiente pregunta es el turno de Esther, una vez que termine de contestar.
Pero que diga Ángel al resto que estamos haciendo una gestión para que los...
Perdón, no, es que no he traducido. Le decía que en España que recibimos un apoyo público de un eurodiputado de de Podemos de En Comú Cataluña, que se llama Ernest Urtasun, que mostró su apoyo a la Iniciativa Ciudadana y que si quería que le pasara su contacto para que formara parte de su grupo de trabajo, y que también había otra eurodiputada que la había contactado Javier, que era otra de Podemos, que se llama Eugenia Rodríguez Palop, y que también le podíamos pasar el contacto. Bueno, eso.
Ok. Entonces vamos en el buen camino, estamos apoyando el grupo. La siguiente.
Sí, a ver, es de Esther, como no ha dicho de hacerla ella en persona, porque os la leo en castellano y Javier se la traduce, ¿vale? Gracias, Iván, por tus comentarios. Me gustaría preguntarte cómo ves en este momento a la Comisión respecto a la renta básica incondicional y qué piensas que necesitaríamos para hacerla llegar a más gente. Gracias.
¿Te refieres a la Comisión Europea?
Exactamente.
Sí, claro, me refiero a la Comisión Europea. Quiero saber cómo lo ve, cómo ve él el ambiente respecto al tema.
Bueno, Esther is asking you how you see.
Wait a moment, because he leaves.
No, he's here already.
Okay.
Again here.
Bueno, Iván, Esther is asking you how the Commission of the European Union is seeing or the universal basic income. What is your impression about the Commission? What they think about that?
Well, we don't know what this commission really thinks about that. But once we collect the signatures, we will know what the present commission thinks about that. But I think that they are much more positive about this topic of universal basic income than the last commission, because this is becoming a very strong topic. During the beginning of this crisis, there was a year ago, let's say 1 year ago, there were many ideas from different countries. I think there was a collection of signature in British Parliament even to introduce some kind of universal basic income to help people struggle with the crisis. And the idea was basically in many countries. We proposed that for Croatia, that the Croatian Central Bank should simply create a certain amount of money and distribute it among the citizens in order to help them function without any fear of inflation. And this is a powerful tool. And I think that the discussion will get even stronger in the future, and that the Commission will have much more positive opinion than the last Commission. But as I said, there is no official statement so far as I know. There are some talks about universal minimum wage, like a European minimum wage for European level, but nothing has been completed so far. We will know soon, I believe.
Entonces, la respuesta es que la Comisión Europea está viendo bastante bien el tema, porque no se sabe si voluntariamente, pero como es un tópico o un tema que se ha extendido mucho últimamente, pues hay una presión social bastante grande. Incluso en el Parlamento británico se llevó a cabo una votación, me parece, yo también la escuché de alguna forma, y claro, pues son instituciones importantes que están evolucionando en la opinión pública y por consecuencia, pues la Comisión Europea se siente también presionada. Por lo tanto, en esta comisión aparentemente están favorablemente, ya sea voluntaria o por presión a favor de la renta básica. Lo he entendido así, no sé, Ángel, tú.
Sí, decía eso, pero que hasta ahora no se habían manifestado.
Claro. Son impresiones.
Claro, son impresiones que él tiene, ¿no? Y que sí, lo que sí que habían manifestado es que iban a trabajar por un salario mínimo.
Europeo.
Europeo. Eso es lo único que han dicho, claro. De la renta básica no han dicho nada, o sea que no se sabe, pero que la pandemia ha puesto en primer plano la necesidad de una renta básica incondicional, ¿no? Entonces, quizá por eso son más favorables que la anterior comisión a la renta básica, pero habrá que ver.
Pregunta ahora de Antonio, que
No,
la
perdón,
leemos.
pero mi pregunta eran 2 preguntas.
Pues si te queda algo, plantea otra, sí, Esther.
Sí, quería preguntarle, o la lees tú, Víctor.
Yo lo que he leído es lo que habías colgado, que
Sí,
la he
también,
copiado tal cual, pero si falta algo, dila ahora y Javier te
sí.
la...
Bueno, también le decía a Iván que desde su punto de vista, ¿qué cree que necesitamos hacer para llegar a más gente? Para poder crear conciencia sobre la necesidad de esta renta básica universal.
Vale. So, Ivan, it seems to be that I lost something on the way. So, Esther is asking you, what do you think we should do to get to know or to get introduced more people involved in the European, in the universal basic income?
Well, it is a process. We cannot simply do it by tomorrow or in a short time. It is a process. 1 year ago, I wasn't much in universal basic income, but now I am absolutely in this topic, and we all have to work on introducing the idea to everyone. We don't know exactly now what will it be, but we know we want it. We know we can solve a lot of our problems. We can increase the quality of life. We can restore balance into society, both political, with the strengthening of democracy, and economic, with reducing all those differences to finish off the polarization, economic polarization. And it is a process, as I said. We have to go step by step. I will do whatever I can. You should do whatever you can. And step by step, the goal is reachable, of course. The goal is reachable. It is also very important to have good quality books and good quality materials so people can get educated about this. And I'm also very happy we have a lot of scientists and philosophers and professors in Vienna who support us and who also teach us. They are really very good articles there and books as well. And I'm also very happy that we have pilot projects all around the world, which are very well. Some are even extremely well, and this is all giving hope. And it is simply going in a good direction, and I'm very happy about that. So it's a process. We cannot do it overnight. Not one person can do it, but we have to contribute as much as everyone can.
Bueno, Esther, habrás entendido, proceso, es cuestión de proceso. Por lo tanto, ni él mismo hace un año estaba donde está ahora, con lo cual ha progresado. Nosotros tenemos que utilizar todas las herramientas a nuestro alcance para educar a la gente. Entonces, teniendo buenos vídeos, teniendo buenas conferencias, por ejemplo, como la de hoy, creo que es muy educativa y entonces podremos estar más capacitados para introducir a la gente, incluso pasando este vídeo después. Con lo cual hay que ir escalón por escalón, porque al final, si no está educada la gente, pues naturalmente será difícil de conseguir todo, pero cuando tengamos a la gente bien educada, pues probablemente habrá, bueno, el éxito que conseguimos, el éxito que queremos.
Muy bien, pasamos a la siguiente pregunta, que es de Antonio y nos ha pedido que se la leamos. Os recuerdo, ahora mismo quedaría simplemente la pregunta de Antonio, Concha y Ramón. Yo creo que si alguien quiere hacer ahora una pregunta, que nos lo ponga ahora, o después de Ramón, creo que podemos finalizar el evento. La pregunta de Antonio es la siguiente. ¿Crees que España puede ser un lastre en Europa en la renta básica universal por la corrupción de sus mandatarios, incluida su monarquía impuesta por un dictador y supercorrupta también?
Do you think it is in Spain a problem for the universal basic income because of the corruption of the Spain, not only politicians, but also the king? You think it can influence about the development of the basic income?
I didn't understand completely. What about the corruption? Will it slow down or disable?
If you think it can be a problem for the whole European universal basic income, the example of the corruption in Spain, not only because of politicians, but also in the last times because of the king.
I think that universal basic income and corruption in Spain is not connected. We have extreme corruption in Croatia. Sometimes I even tell my friends I don't come from Republic of Croatia, but Republic of Corruption. And yeah, it's very hard about corruption in here. And even worse situation is in Bulgaria. I was in Bulgaria 4 months ago. People were protesting there, tens of thousands of them. At some point, even 100,000. And I was invited there to speak to the protesters. Basically, the political elite, the political class, the establishment is stealing money not just from the budget of Bulgaria, Croatia, and Spain, but also from the European funds. And people are angry that there is very little control for the money from European funds. In Croatia, the control basically doesn't exist. It is very slow and it is very small. So I'm also working on that, but that also is a process because I myself didn't know that it was that bad until 6 months ago. When people who knew all the details came to me and explained to me how it's done, where do they steal and where and why is there no control.
Okay, so lo has escuchado que el problema de la corrupción no es solamente de España, sino en Bulgaria, incluso en Croacia. Por lo tanto, no cree que eso influya para el desarrollo de la renta básica universal.
Sí, y de añadiría que no solo el problema es la corrupción en esos países, el robo de fondos en esos países, sino que también en la Unión Europea hay robo de fondos y eso no se dice, no se sabe, pero que a él ahora, en el contacto con otros europarlamentarios, le han estado informando de cómo se hace eso, ese robo de fondos en la misma Unión Europea. O sea que no es solo un problema de unos países, sino que es un problema muy generalizado.
Vale, a continuación, Concha, cuando quieras.
Sí, thank you very much, Ivan. I hope you understand my English. I'm very convinced since many years that the basic income would be the only mean to keep democracy and for the future of the society. But an income, a basic income that preserves our welfare system, also the education we have now paid by the state, health system and retirement pension system, because the first time I heard from basic income was here in Germany, where I live, from a very rich people, the owner of a big company who is very in favor of the basic income, but with the condition of deleting all the welfare system. So the neoliberal version of the basic income, which is not our point, I think. So from this point of view, I hope that in the future we reach this objective of having this justice and this basic income for everybody. But I always think, how can we to go to this point? Because the change we need to make in the society is of a level that I cannot imagine that we can do it on one go. I think perhaps the only possible way is step by step. And I wanted to know your opinion in this sense. How do you imagine that we can reach to have in many nations, in many states of Europe, this basic income? Perhaps parts of the population before getting this income, or perhaps before children, than the old people, or I don't know. For example, in Germany, where I live, children are getting already an income from exactly Kindergeld, from the moment where they are born until 18 years or 25 years if they are studying. Every child of a family living in Germany gets a certain amount of money, more or less 200 euros per month, independently of how rich or how poor are their parents. And this is already a step, perhaps could be the first step, implementing this Kindergeld money for children in all Europe as a first step. And then step by step, then the pensions, making a European pension system. I don't know, perhaps step by step, because I cannot imagine that we can change everything at the same time. And I wanted to know your opinion about this idea, how to get it. I will translate now for my colleagues. Lo que le estaba preguntando a Iván es, después de decirle que yo soy una convencida, pero de una renta básica que no cambie el estado de bienestar que tenemos, que no disminuya la educación, ni las pensiones, ni el sistema sanitario. Como el cambio es tan grande con la renta básica en todo, yo no me imagino muy bien cómo se puede conseguir. Y le estoy preguntando si sería una forma de conseguirlo, hacerlo paso a paso. Por ejemplo, que lo recibieran primero los niños, como aquí ya pasa en Alemania. En Alemania, desde hace ya muchos años, desde los años 70, los niños tienen como unos 200 euros al mes cada niño, independientemente de si sus padres ganan mucho o ganan poco, da igual. Todos los niños que viven aquí reciben ese dinero hasta los 18 años o hasta los 25 si estudian. Y no lo sé si sería así. Primero poner en Europa un dinero para los niños, por ejemplo, luego poner en Europa un sistema de pensiones unificado para que todo el mundo en Europa reciba también una pensión unificada. En fin, así hacerlo de forma paulatina por partes de la población, porque yo no me imagino cómo se puede hacer esto si no, pero esa era la opinión que le estaba preguntando. Thank you very much, Ivan, for your answer.
Thank you very much. I can understand you completely. I know of Kindergeld. I think it is a very nice idea. I think Germany is very happy with Kindergeld policy, and I think it was also that Kindergeld also helped this German pilot project of universal basic income that started a few months ago. So they were happy with Kindergeld, and then they also wanted to see how will it work with the adults and so on. With children, it is always a question: who will get the money? Who will control the account? Will it be the child? Will it be the parents? Will the parents misuse the money or not? Something like Kindergeld and expanding that program to whole European Union could be a first step or an important step in universal basic income introduction. There is, of course, no consensus yet. Should children get universal basic income or not, or should it be Kindergeld as a special thing or not? It isn't still defined. We are still trying to find a best solution. And once our operating working group is founded, we will make our goals and see what is first thing, second thing, priority, secondary thing, and things, and so on. As you said, that some people also think, and some scientists think, that universal basic income should replace other benefits. So if you have Kindergeld, now you will have universal basic income, but you won't have a Kindergeld anymore. Something that it should add. So we'll have Kindergeld plus universal basic income. Or will there be a special kind of universal basic income for our children, for a child? So it's all open for a debate still. I personally think that we must follow the basic principles, so that every person in the society should be able to function with the universal basic income policy. So if Kindergeld is not enough for someone, then universal basic income should improve that. And there are also ideas that you will pay, you will get less tax refund if you have universal basic income, so that one thing will erase the other. I disagree with that. That doesn't have to be that way. But as I said, the basic idea is to help every person in society to function better. So that should be the leading idea of the universal basic income. And so nobody should have less and be in harder position than they are now, regardless of whether they have some kind of benefit like Kindergeld or they have none. With universal basic income, everybody should be in better situation. I personally think that things like Kindergeld shouldn't be removed once the universal basic income is introduced, but that's my opinion. As I said, it is still not defined neither for a region or a country or Europe as a whole.
Traduce, Concha.
Bueno, Iván lo que me ha dicho es que él piensa, por ejemplo, que el dinero para los niños que se da en Alemania no se tendría que eliminar porque se hiciera una renta básica, y que hay que seguir los principios de la renta básica. Todo el mundo tiene que tener el dinero suficiente para vivir. El dinero de los niños no es suficiente para vivir, efectivamente. Mi pregunta era más bien si podría implementarse paso a paso, y creo que Iván no me ha entendido del todo, pero bueno, da igual. Él ha desarrollado también su pregunta. Yo eso es lo que más he entendido de la pregunta, que quiere ceñirse a los principios, que todo de cómo se va a desarrollar está todo en discusión y habrá que esperar, porque sí, porque hay muchas ideas de pasos a dar, pero que habrá que esperar. Eso es lo que yo he entendido que ha dicho Iván.
Muy bien. Ramón ha comentado varias cosas en el chat. Bueno, como te hemos comentado, pues Ramón, ahora puedes hacer unas preguntas para que te las traduzcan después para comentárselas a Iván. Ramón, por favor. Sí, te has apagado ahora el micro, te lo había encendido hace un momentito. Dale otra vez, por favor.
¿Ya? ¿Se oye?
Okay.
Bueno, el primer problema que tenemos normalmente en Europa es que no se está formando una Unión Europea. Simplemente, aunque sea un poco fuera del alcance del debate, y yo hace mucho tiempo que lo estoy comentando, he participado en chats con otros europarlamentarios y realmente yo he visto que de alguna forma tenemos un grave problema que es el idioma. Este chat, digamos, si todos pudiéramos hablar el mismo idioma sería fabuloso, porque de alguna manera sería mucho más fluido. En cuanto, ciñéndome a la renta básica, os puedo comentar, digamos, que yo durante años he soñado con la renta básica y lo he traducido en un libro con una proposición de ley para España. Me gustaría, digamos, encontrar gente que pudiera adaptar esta idea que lo he plasmado en el libro a otros países europeos, ya que el sistema fiscal europeo no está unificado. Yo para mí me baso en que la renta básica se tendría que financiar a través de impuestos, pero para financiarlo a través de impuestos tendría que estar con el mismo sistema impositivo. Y en estos momentos en Europa no existe un sistema impositivo único, con lo cual habría que adaptar el sistema de renta básica a cada país, ya que cada país tiene un sistema impositivo y recaudatorio diferente. Yo lo he resuelto para España y he propuesto unos cambios legislativos donde se podría perfectamente, creo que en 3 años se podría tener implementada la renta básica para España. Lo que pasa es que, digamos, este libro lo he remitido en agosto a los 350 diputados del Congreso español, pero de momento aún no me han contestado. Estoy en espera, digamos, que alguno de ellos se digne a decir, lo he leído y me parece bien o no me parece bien. Únicamente era esto y de alguna forma me gustaría que por parte de Iván, si él conoce gente que pudiera adaptarlo, en este caso a su país, pues estaría encantado de colaborar con la persona que sea para darle las ideas, digamos, necesarias para una implementación legislativa para adaptarlo a su país como siguiente paso. Igualmente a otros países se podría hacer. Nada más.
Bueno, en primer lugar, Ramón piensa de que para que las conferencias fueran más fluidas tendríamos que tener un idioma común europeo.
Efectivamente.
Bien, estamos en ello también. Yo ya lo tengo apuntado en la lista de proyectos, no te preocupes que eso llega.
Yo lo propuse en el 2008.
Bueno, aparte de eso, él es escritor, bueno, por lo menos en temas de la renta básica, desde hace 20 años que está enamorado con la idea y sigue trabajando en ella. Oh, perdón, I have to tell in English. Sorry. So then, Ramon is telling us that conferences should be in a common language. So then it's something that doesn't work yet, but maybe in the future, after the universal basic income, maybe. He is working since 20 years on the basic income and has written even a book in Spain and has already found a solution for the financing their basic income. But in Europe or the European Union, it's not possible to implement it because of the fiscal differences in the different countries. So he's asking if you wanted to have this book and then to distribute in Europe and your country or whatever. He's sure that in 3 years could be implemented in Spain and has sent to the 350 MPs in the Spanish Parliament, but it's until now hasn't had any answer yet.
I would be very happy to get that book. I love books and I would like to have it. Do you have it perhaps in English or is it in Spanish language?
¿Español o inglés el libro?
El libro está en español.
Bueno,
no tiene mucho sentido traducirlo al inglés por un motivo. Él está específicamente enfocado a España y las leyes españolas. Si alguien, digamos, considera en otro país europeo que pudiera adaptar, porque habría que adaptar a la legislación para que las ideas que plasmo en el libro se puedan adaptar a otros países y hacer los libros correspondientes al país, a la lengua del país donde se adapte al sistema fiscal.
Javier, lo que le podrías preguntar, que es lo que comentaba Ramón, es a Iván si podrían llegar a un acuerdo para, pues, él hacer como una propuesta, ¿vale? Yo creo que lo que Ramón quiere comentarle a Iván.
Bueno, pues entonces eso que se haga por
If I understood correctly, the book is in Spanish and it was made for Spain's fiscal system, of course. Please send it. I will try to find someone who is fluent in Spanish. There are people in Secretariat. it won't be a problem. It will be useful. Thank you for. Oh, if you have PDF format also, it would be useful. Whatever you have. I would just like to also tell you, Javier, that I have to go in like 5 to 10 minutes. So please, only a question or two, so we can conclude.
Yes. I think it's the last question now. Víctor, is finished?
Ahora tú.
Vale, Ramón, ya has oído, ¿no? Que le puedes mandar el libro porque en su departamento tienen traductores y español y tal, y como solamente es para España, van a ver lo que pueden hacer, ¿vale?
De acuerdo.
And now I have a question, the last one, so you can go, because the answer has not to be today. So then I hope we are going to meet in the future, and as nobody has asked something about that, we left open the question for the next time. You see, I have my own experience when talking about the universal basic income with groups, with people, and so for some time, I have found people that have more and more skeptical about the financing. And then I see the financing plan so easy that I have asked the question to some economists, but they don't answer. They don't know or they don't want to answer. So now for you, for the next time, what will be if we promise our governments or the European Union will have to implementing a tax on the digital companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google, so as to finance the universal basic income whenever it is implemented. Okay.
I agree. Yes, thank you. I agree completely. As I said, I mentioned 4 ways of financing, and one of them was a tax on large corporations such as Amazon. Amazon is getting bigger by the day, and it is already much stronger than the country of Croatia and many other countries. So this is undermining our democracy, corporatocracy. The rulership of corporations is threatening us, and we must not allow that. We have tools to stop that, and we should regulate that, because we all like companies to grow, good companies to grow, but what we have here are extremes. These are really extremes, and we have to stop that and to make things function much better. So yes, I am very much for that.
So then next time we know more about that if you comment this on the group. Okay, so then it remains only to thank you very much in the name of everybody. A couple of them have already left, but they have thanked not only for the organization, as also for the nice European parliamentarian there, Mr. Sinčić, and then we will be happy and pleased to meet you in the future again. In the meantime, we will keep in touch because I think I have here the representation from Germany and Spain, and I am always on the way, so then I don't know where I to belong to, but the best I think I can think is I am a European citizen, and I try to behave as such a one all the time, and this time is the time for the universal basic income. Thank you very much, Ivan.
Thank you very much for your interesting question, and the very fact that we were almost for 2 hours instead of 1 is selfish.
Thanks, Iván. Thanks. Muchas gracias, Javier, Ángel.
Thank you.
A todas.
Thank you very much to all of you. Muchas gracias a todo el mundo. Yo le he dado las gracias en vuestro nombre al parlamentario y supongo que tendremos otros encuentros en el futuro y probablemente también no solamente con él, sino con un panel de otros parlamentarios, también de Podemos. Caramba, a ver si llevamos buenas noticias al grupo, Cancha.
Esos son una panda vendidos.
Bueno, chicos, adiós. Buenas tardes a todos.
Oye,
adiós.
¿Tenemos una foto?
Ya están hechas, ya están hechas.
Ah, ya están hechas. Victor is a technical department and a big speaker. Thank you very much, Victor, and all of you. Muchas gracias a todo el mundo.
Adiós.
Adiós.
Bye.
Adiós. Adiós.